What is going on, everybody? My name is Kevin Drake, and this is KD's BackField. Now, this is something new that I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get this out weekly, or even I'm going to do a couple of days throughout the week where I post this. This is going to be my new show. If you didn't know, I was part of something called the Alternative Football News Network, and we were a radio network, and we covered alternative football. From the XFL to the CFL to even NCAA. We talked about the NFL sometimes, but for the most part, we tried to stick away from that because we wanted to be different. And this is where KD's BackField comes from. It was an audio column that I did for a little bit with that network. But some things happened, had to fold, and COVID kind of ruined us. If you could see the background for this, it says KD's BackField, but the photo has XFL material on it. This is one of the photos that I took while working with the XFL, with the Roughnecks. I was able to get on to the field with credentials and everything like that. The network really boosted me and got me the opportunity to do a lot of different things. And I'm hoping to be able to take what I did with the network and apply that here. Now, it's not going to be syndicated or anything like that. This is going to go up on YouTube. And from time to time, I might even stream it on Twitch. Take the Twitch stream and process it over to YouTube as well. I will also be posting this on my website, my professional portfolio website, for people to check out if they don't want to go to YouTube. And I'll also be sharing this across all social media, from Facebook to Twitter to even snippets on Instagram. Now, what I want to do, this is going to be sports related. That's going to be the gist of it. It's going to be sports related. KD's BackField, you got an XFL field in the background. It's going to be sports related, but I'm going to, from time to time, I'm going to talk about anime. I'm going to talk about comics. I'm going to talk about movies and TV shows, because I don't want this to be centered around one different thing. I want this to be as different as possible. And I'm going to try and bring some guests on from time to time, if I can, especially some of my colleagues that I worked with at the radio network. I really want to bring them onto this and get their thoughts on a bunch of different things. For the most part, when I say we'll talk about sports, right now we'll be talking about like baseball, NFL, NCAA, because those are like MLB has been going since March. NFL's preseason started, and we're about to get the NCAA back, I believe, this coming weekend or even next week. So we will be talking about a bunch of that. Now, for right now, this first episode is going to be the introduction. We're going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to give you a rundown of everything. I'm still going to be working with building a format, and it's going to be sports related. That, like, when I say that, like, I want to have a power play, I want to have a speed play, and then the final part of the show will be my blitz package. We will go about the last 10 minutes of the show. We will just run through everything, run through a couple of different things. For the most part, this show is going to be 45 minutes to an hour long. And yes, I know you kind of think about it, I'm still new, relatively new and everything like that, so it might not be a good idea to do that. But when I say 45 minutes to an hour, that's if I get that long. If I do it a little bit shorter, it'll be around 20 to 30 minutes. And I think that's reasonable. Now, what I really want to talk about, and the reason I wanted to do this, and the reason that KD's BackField is kind of important to me, is because I've been in this kind of influx with going back to school, figuring out work, and doing this and that. The sports world is my bread and butter. And then I have the comic world, TV, movie world, anime, stuff like that. I have all that. I really do. Video games as well. That's why from time to time you will see video game streams on this. You'll see video game clips posted to the channel as well. So I'm really revamping and redoing what I'm doing. I'm also, most of the videos that are on my channel right now will be unlisted or privated. After this will be one of the first videos that you will see when you pop up on the channel. So just to jump into it, we're going to talk about the NFL preseason. And from what I've seen, most of the first round picks have been doing great. Zach Wilson is showing off a lot of poise and aggressiveness with the Jets. Trevor Lawrence, from what I've seen, even though the team as a whole for the Jaguars looks bad, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been making many mistakes. And when he does, it's under pressure. But he still gets it to the point where the receiver can't catch it. Trey Lance has been showing that he can be a proven commodity in this league, but Jimmy Garoppolo will be the day one starter if they choose to go that route. Mac Jones, on the other hand, he's playing lights out right now with the Patriots, but Cam Newton is still the starter. Now, reports coming out that he is going to be missing 5 days of practice because he didn't understand the COVID protocols while going off team facility. So Mac Jones this week is getting all first team reps and more than likely will start this final preseason game. And then Tua Tagovailoa, he's doing great. He's matured and he's really learned the playbook and he's been doing a great job with the Dolphins this year. And Jalen Waddle, we haven't heard his name much, along with Devontae Smith. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle have been doing great. They have been proving themselves on and off the field and showing that their draft choice was a great idea. Now, Jamar Chase, for all intents and purposes, he hasn't shown much. Apparently, there are concerns with him. It's the preseason. Give him time. Jamar Chase will prove to be the receiver that he has shown himself to be from LSU to now. And then you get Micah Parsons with the Cowboys. He has been all over the field. He's taking every opportunity and every advantage to be the number 11 pick that he was. And on Hard Knocks, I'm really glad that they chose the Cowboys because there's a lot of maturity with this team. And Micah Parsons, being as young as he is, he gets to showcase who he is as a person, to show that the off-field issues that apparently he had aren't going to affect him and they're not something to worry about in the NFL. So altogether, the NFL preseason has been fun. Every team that we thought was going to be good has showed promise. Every team that has been told that it's going to be bad, some of them are actually showing that they could give a playoff team a run for their money. And that is really interesting. And that's what I hope to see from all these young players, especially on these new teams, because they're going to make a great impact immediately day one just because of COVID. Because last year we had all these different players opt out. Preseason didn't happen. Didn't really have a full training camp. So you're going to also have players that signed with new teams last year that are going to come into this and prove themselves worthy. And then you got second-year players like CeeDee Lamb, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor. All these young guys, they're going to break out of their shells and they're going to be very, very worthwhile for their teams. And I can't wait to see what happens. Now, jumping onto the whole Jaguars thing, because I know most of you are going to ask about it. The Tim Tebow thing was always a marketing ploy. No one ever thought that he would make the team. Now, could he have? Yes. If he proved himself to be a commodity for that team, he would have been a backup. I never once thought that he was going to be a starter. Tim Tebow did what he was signed on to do. He sold jerseys, made the Jaguars money, and then got out. I don't think Urban Meyer ever thought that he was going to be a starter. He gave him an opportunity to jump back on the field and relive his dream like he did with the Broncos. But as a tight end, it wasn't going to work. Now, I know the videos of him floating around doing terrible blocks was one thing. That's bound to happen, and it's understandable. But Trevor Lawrence is the main focus of this team. And he is showing every ounce of what a number one pick should be. Even though that team as a whole is trash, he is the bright spot that is keeping them afloat. Now, Josh Allen, he just got put on the COVID reserve list. Travis Etienne suffered a foot injury last night. So, there are some down spots. But I fully expect this team to have a few wins. I fully expect them to give a couple of teams a run for their money and show them their weaknesses and strong points. But do I think they'll be last in the league? No, not at all. I really believe that midway through the season, Urban Meyer will show his true colors and prove that he can be a head coach in the NFL, just like Pete Carroll did when he came over from USC. Now, staying in the AFC South, the Texans, as of right now, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson is the starter. I'm really not. I'm going to say Davis Mills is. Just because of all the allegations and everything like that with Deshaun. We don't know how that's going to go. We don't know how that's going to affect everything. But I feel like right now Davis Mills is going to be the starter. But the Texans as a whole, I don't believe they're going to be good at all. They're going to be bad. I don't trust David Culley as the head coach. I really don't. The Texans are my hometown team, but right now I truly believe that they are going to be dead last. It's going to suck. It really is. But Bill O'Brien didn't do anything to help this team. Didn't get the value out of not Deshaun Watson, but DeAndre Hopkins or even Dwayne Brown. They faltered in that aspect. And that's going to be their ultimate downfall. And I don't see them recovering for the next 3 years. Now, if David Culley proves to be a coach that can stay, let's go. That's fine. I just, in my heart, don't believe that David Culley is the answer at head coach. And then also the running back issue, Mark Ingram is there. He will provide veteran leadership, but I don't believe he's the answer at running back. And then also we just have backups and injury-prone receivers because we lost Will Fuller to the Dolphins. The Titans, on the other hand, the Titans are going to win this division hands down. Ryan Tannehill is proving to be the quarterback that we all thought he was going to be coming out of A&M. The fact that people down him because of the way that everything went in Miami is so stupid. Ryan Tannehill took that team to the playoffs. He did. With Adam Gase as a head coach. Then he gets traded to the Titans and he takes the spot from Marcus. Like, I understand it. You got to think about it. Better offensive line, better running backs, better wide receivers, better defense. And he doesn't have to do much. But he proves day in and day out that he is the number one quarterback for that team and that he can take them to the playoffs. And he has. The Colts is going to be interesting. Carson Wentz is coming off the worst season he's ever had, especially getting injured. He had to watch Jalen Hurts take over for him and Nick Foles win a Super Bowl while he was hurt. Now you have Sam Ehlinger, and I forget the other quarterback's name. Jake Browning from Washington. Those two are showing out in camp. And Sam Ehlinger being a 6th-round pick, getting first-team reps and could be the starter week 1 because Carson is still hurt, says a lot. Now, do I think Carson will start week 1? Yes, I really do. But let him show that he can't run that team or be as productive as what they thought they were going to get. And you have 2 backups that are willing to go in there and duke it out and try and show and prove themselves on that field against number 1s on Sunday. I truly believe the Titans will win the AFC South, but the Colts could be a wild card. They will be second in that division. They really will. But whether or not Carson Wentz can come out and prove himself to that team is still to be determined. Now let's transition over to the best division in football. The NFC West. Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, Rams. Matthew Stafford is on the Rams. That makes that team a whole lot better because of his arm. And he is mobile. He was a detriment in Detroit. But now he comes to a team that he can flourish. Now, granted, Cam Akers being injured, that is going to sideline that team. But in reality, I do believe that the Rams are going to give the Seahawks a run for their money. The Seahawks, they're going to be a top team in this league. They really will. They will make it to the playoffs. I don't trust that line, even with Dwayne Brown. I don't even trust the running back group. Receivers, I trust. Defense, I trust. I don't think the run game or the offensive line will be suitable. Russell Wilson just runs, and he gets hit. Russell Wilson is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He will be. But if he gets injured one time, the Seahawks go downhill immediately. The 49ers is still going to be interesting because right now Jimmy Garoppolo is the number 1 starter. Trey Lance, on the other hand, is proving to be the first-round pick that he was sought out to be. Everyone keeps downing the fact that he didn't play much. He only has 28 starts. You don't get a round 1 grade on you just because of that. Showing out and proving yourself on the field is one thing. Proving yourself off the field is another as well. And I do believe at some point Trey Lance will take over the starting spot with San Francisco. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo takes the whole season. I really don't. And then you get over to Arizona, the wild card team of this division. Cliff Kingsbury is on the hot seat. He really is. And he will be on the hot seat for the rest of the season until he can prove that he's the head coach that the Cardinals thought it would be. Kyler Murray is phenomenal. You have A.J. Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Andy Isabella, Christian Kirk. You have 4 top-tier receivers. Your tight ends could be better. Your offensive line could be better. Your running back group is good. Your defense is stout. If you cannot win with this team, there's something wrong because this team is built for the playoffs. Now, like I said, tight ends and offensive line could be better. They really could. They still can win this division and they can still make it to the playoffs. And I think that's a big thing people miss. The NFL this year will be interesting, especially with 17 games. I don't think the same teams that made it to the playoffs last year return. The Buccaneers will return, but they will have more losses than they did last year because every team in this league is good. This is one of the first years I can truly say that even the bottom feeder teams will give the top teams a run for their money. I really do. I truly believe that. This year will be an anomaly. Last year with COVID was an anomaly. This one's an even bigger one. And I truly believe that, and I stand by that. And I can't wait to see what the NFL looks like this year. Because, like I said, Carson Wentz gets hurt, you got 2 backups that are ready to go. Kirk Cousins, if he loses, not loses, but if he gets hurt or shows that he can't run that team, you have Kellen Mond and Jacob Eason ready to go. Josh Allen in Buffalo, if he gets hurt, you have Mitchell Trubisky. And he can work it. He proved himself starting that game that he can do it. Then Justin Fields in Chicago. Andy Dalton's the starter. Dude, Andy Dalton's not going to keep that role. He's really not. Justin Fields is going to take over the starting reins as soon as he can. And he's going to flourish. If Aaron Rodgers regresses or gets hurt, Jordan Love has proven that he can take hold of that team and win. Dak Prescott, if he doesn't stay healthy, that contract he just signed, oh, dude, they're drafting a quarterback first round next year. I can already tell you that. Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill are battling it out. Jameis looks good. He really does. The Saints are in a good position. Even without Michael Thomas, I believe they'll be a playoff team. Atlanta's going to be scary. I truly believe that. They really will. The NFL this year is going to be wild, crazy, and even fantasy owners, they need to understand that fantasy football is going to be extremely weird this year. Back and forths, injuries, non-injuries, players breaking out. It's going to be interesting to see, and I can't wait to watch. Now, going over to the NCAA side of it, it's become real interesting with the NIL deals, with players being paid because of their likenesses and getting multi-million-dollar deals with companies. Alabama's still number 1, Clemson number 2, but then you have teams like A&M. A&M lost their starting quarterback. Jimbo Fisher is still yet to announce a number 1 for the team, and I think that's good. But let's talk about the big thing, because we're not going to stick on that. Oklahoma and Texas are now a part of the SEC. Now, granted, it doesn't go into effect until 2025, but I feel like Texas will be the first one to get there before that date, because I truly believe that they're going to accumulate the money and be able to pay the Big 12 to get out of there and go straight to the SEC and start playing. Now, the one thing that I will say is that we've already seen the ramifications of Oklahoma and Texas coming to the SEC. And it's in recruiting. And the funny thing about it is, it's not even Oklahoma and Texas that are getting the recruits. It's Texas A&M. That says a lot. Texas A&M has been a really good team in the SEC for the past, since Johnny Manziel and Kevin Sumlin came in. But the recruiting class has been getting better and better and better. Now, the funny thing is now we know for sure that at some point we're getting the battle for Texas again. A&M and Texas going at it. Multiple different recruits have decommitted from LSU, Georgia, Alabama, and other SEC schools And everyone's like, why did they do that? And then you look at the calendar, and those recruits, they have meetings with A&M. They have recruitment trips to A&M the next week. Now, Oklahoma just got the number 1 receiver in the class. But still, A&M just took has pretty much taken 4 to 5 top recruits and made them decommit. And no one talks about it, but it's because Texas is now in the SEC. And people love that rivalry. People have been begging for that rivalry to come back. There have been Texas state legislators that have tried to get bills passed to make it a mandatory game between the two. You have Oklahoma and Texas bringing their rivalry to the SEC. You have Texas and Texas A&M going at it once again. Texas A&M and Oklahoma bring their rivalry back. This is going to be a fun NCAA now. And now there's talks of the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 talking about an alignment to combat the SEC. The college football world is about to go crazy. And the reason for it is because it's about to become the NFL. We're going to have 2 subsequent conferences. And we're just going to have a big schedule. It's going to be nice to see. It's going to be fun. But it will hurt a little bit for the first couple of years. But that's because they got to get alignments, they got to get divisions, they got to get teams going at it left, right, and sideways. But it's still going to be interesting to see what happens. And I can't wait. That's going to do it for this episode. Give you a little bit, bring you back. The reason being is because I don't want this to be a very long episode. I want this to be a start of something new, something fun. This is KD's Backfield. My name is Kevin Drake, and I'm your host. Now, next week, or in a couple of days, I don't know exactly how everything's going to go. Once news breaks, once games happen, I'll be back. Now, the release for these shows, I might do a short show on Fridays or even Thursday night after Thursday night football. And then for the most part, shows might be Sunday night or Monday afternoons after Sunday football and before Monday night football. I'm going to try and keep it fun. I'm going to try and bring on guests and have people come on and talk. Because, yes, we're going to talk about sports, but we're going to talk about anime, comics, TV shows, and movies. We're going to do it. Reviews, articles, they're all going to happen. Like I said, this is going to be on YouTube. This is also going to be on my personal portfolio website. And I'm going to share it across all social media. So I will link my social medias in the comments section for you to check out. Facebook's going to be a little bit different because I am going to be posting it to my personal page. So I won't put that in. But Twitter and Instagram for sure, go check me out. But that's going to do it for this episode. My name is Kevin Drake, and welcome to KD's Backfield. I will catch all of you later. Peace out.